Welcome everyone to Art with Kathleen. This week we're going to do a fun op art assignment, optical illusion art. It looks a little similar to the first assignment we had in the very beginning with the cones that we did, where we alternated colors and it made it look like the cones were three-dimensional. It's very similar to that, only we're using our hands and we're tracing, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. So op art or optical illusion art is what happens when we use line to create this feeling of three dimension on the page, right? And op art can be really sophisticated. Or it can be more simplistic, like this assignment. And one of the things that's really fun to do with this assignment is to create multiple images and hang them all together. Like if you did 6 of these and hung them on the wall in different colors and different kind of patterning, I think that would look really cool. I did these 2 here in just line work. And then I did a couple of samples to show you what what the marker looks like and what pencil looks like, colored pencil or crayon. I actually really like colored pencil and crayon best because it allows you to darken these little corners where the page meets the hand shape. And I'll show you a little later when we get to the coloring part what I mean by that. So for our materials, the absolute basic materials, and I'm going to do kind of a sample of both of these so you can see, you can have a little different choices. One that might be a little less challenging, one that might be a little more challenging, or just different. So our basic materials are 1 piece of paper, okay, a pencil. If it has an eraser on it, great. If it doesn't, get us an eraser. And some sort of marker or crayon. I'm having a marker for this one, but it could also be a crayon or colored pencil. That's the absolute basic materials you need, these 4 things here. So if you want to do one that's a little heavier on the color, you might want to add 2 different colors of crayon or colored pencil or marker. So you would have 1 piece of paper, you would have a pencil and eraser, and then you would have the 2 colored pencils. All right, that's if you want to do a more colored version instead of the more straightforward 1 color version. All right, so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is to show you how to trace out your hand. Take off my watch. So I'm going to do 2 different hand tracings on either side of this to show you 2 different ways that you can do this. One of them will be just a straightforward hand like this, laid flat on the page and traced. And on the other side, I'll draw a hand that is making some kind of sign. Like this one is making the hang loose sign, right? And I even wrote hang loose up here, which is an option you can write. Or I think on the back side of this, I might do the sign language sign for love, which is this. Just to give you a different, especially for my older students who might want to do something a little more challenging, you can do that. So on this first page, we're going to do something like this. And we need to trace our hand first, right? So this might be a little more challenging for my kinders and first graders, but just take it slow. And if you need some help, ask a parent or an older sibling for help. But I think that you can do this by yourself. You're going to get your white piece of paper out, and you're going to put your hand on it. Now I am right-handed. I write with my right hand. I draw with my right hand. So that's what I'm going to hold the pencil with my right hand. And I'm going to trace my left hand. So I don't want just a little bit of my left hand on the page. I want a lot of my left hand. I want a little bit of my arm on the page. So I'm going to make sure that my hand is up toward the top of the page and we're in a vertical orientation, right? Not horizontal, like landscape. We're in a vertical, like portrait. And we're going to put our hand on the page. Now it can be spread out real far, or it can be a little closer together, but give some room in between the fingers, okay? And when you trace your hand, really important is to get your pencil in a straight up and down position and be relaxed. Relax your hands. This goes for everybody. Relax your hands. Don't hold your pencil too tight, okay? Because you really want to feel the shape of the hand as you're going around, and take it slowly. So I'm going to put my pencil on the edge of the paper, and I'm just slowly going to trace my hand by just allowing the pencil to gently press up against my wrist and my hand as I travel around. See how slow I'm going? I'm not going fast, I'm going slow, so the pencil can get every single little bit of the shape. And notice how my pencil is going straight up and down. It's even going to have the shape of my rings on there. If I have long nails, it might show a little bit of my long nails. And notice how my pencil's straight up and down still. And I'm going at a slow, steady pace. And I'm just gently pressing the pencil up against my arm and hand as I trace it. Okay. How does it look? Oh, you can see my ring. Nice, huh? All right, hand is finished for a basic open palm effect. Now, let's pretend I want to do a sign like hang loose, or we'll do the sign for the sign language love sign. What I want to do for my older students who are going to try this is I want to try to really flatten my hand on the page as much as possible. Don't get it too lifted up. Make it as flat as I can, right? And I have you're going to see my bracelet too. I have, it's the same technique with the pencil, right? And it's okay that I have this kind of angle coming into the composition, that's fine. Gently, pencil straight up and down, gently presses up against my hand. This one's really important because I want to get all those little shifts in the way the fingers are positioned, right? So it really reads as that American Sign Language symbol for love. Okay, and there it is finished, right? So now I want to, if I'm doing a really basic one like this, which I think is really cool actually to do a bunch of them in just different colors, I'm going to pick up my colored marker, right? Let's turn it over, I got the right hand. And I'm going to start either at the top or the bottom. I'll start at the top up here. And what I'm trying to do is to create the look that like there's almost like something covering the hand and the hand is popping up through it. So all the lines that are not touching the hand have to be straight across the page or not curved, okay? All the lines that are running through the hand have to have a curve to them. Let me say that again. Any line that's going through the page that doesn't touch the hand has to be a straight line. It might not be straight horizontal, it might have a little bit of a slope to it or a diagonal, but the line itself should be straight and not curved, okay? But when I get to the hand, I want to make sure that I'm going to curve that line. That curve of the line is what's really going to pop the hand out, just like it did in that first assignment we did way back in the beginning of my videos. So I'm going to start up top. And I think the closer you put the lines together, the more you'll see that 3D effect. There's a couple of things that are going to be really important. The closer you have the lines together, they don't have to be touching, but you know, fairly close. And you want to make sure that you give yourself enough of a kind of curve, to the line. So it really looks like you're going over something. So one of the things I like to do when I'm doing this is to think about that when my marker hits the finger, that I'm actually going over the actual finger of my hand. Kind of put in my mind, just put my hand there and pretend like I'm actually going over my hand. Okay, so we're going to start at the very top, and I don't have any fingers up there, so I'm just going to make a straight line across. And notice I kind of am laying my marker on its side, so there's a thicker line. If you want a thicker line, that's the way you do it. If you want a thinner line, I'll make a line that's thinner. You want to point the marker straight up and down, at least if you're using these kind of markers. Right? So my next one is going to touch this finger. So watch what has to happen. We get all the way to the finger. I stop and I'm going to go around the top of the finger. That's just on this one. I'm going to go all the way across. And every time I do that, every time I hit the finger, I'm going to put a curved line on there. And I go across. Now I'm going to be hitting two fingers, I think. One, go straight across. Two, go straight across, right? So notice how when the lines are going through the fingers, they're curved. When they're on the regular paper, they're straight. And you're going to continue doing that until you're done, all the way to the end of the page, the bottom of the page. Kind of like you're drawing a half moon or a half circle. Half circle straight, half circle straight, half circle straight. So it can be a little tricky in some of these areas. Now I've left the fingers behind, right? I finished the fingers. So I can't keep making that line loopy because the last of the pencil mark is up here. So once you get past this first finger, you have a straight line, and then the rest of the hand has to be one big arc until you get till the straight space, and then another arc, and then straight space. Okay, so when I get to this next one I'm going to make, I'm just going to make one giant arc, and then I'm going to make it straight, and then I'm going to arc it again and make it straight. And if it's not super perfect, I gotta go all the way over there. It's okay. If the lines aren't like perfectly even, each one, that's okay. And it gets a little easier as it gets into less fingers. absolute last thing I like to do if I'm going to just leave it with one color is erase the original pencil marks. All right, so if you're just working with the basic materials and you did one color, then you're done, right? If you're going to be working with coloring each space, then you're going to pick yourself 2 colors. For this one, I picked yellow and orange, and you're going to alternate those colors, right? You can start with orange, color one, skip a line, color the next one, skip a line, color the next one, all the way up, and then you can do the same with the yellow, right? Every other one. You could even make it a rainbow if you wanted to. That'd be kind of cool. Go blue, yellow, purple, green, red, blue, yellow, purple, green, red. You know, that would be really cool to do it that way. Color it any way you want. Now, for the other one, I'm going to show the example of actually coloring it every other way. So, and I'm going to use my colored pencils. So what I want to do with this one is I used a Sharpie to draw the lines, but this time I'm not going to do that. This time I'm going to use a pencil, and I'm going to draw the lines with a pencil. All right, and it's the same. I'll probably go a little faster this time. It's going to be the same instructions. Every area where the pencil touches the finger, you have to put a curved line. If the pencil doesn't touch the finger, you don't have to worry about it. It goes straight across the page. All the way until you get to the bottom of the page. So it's done. Now let's work on how we're going to color this one going up. So if you want to put a word like that, like I did, you could use a Sharpie, or you could use one of your colored pencils. I'll use a Sharpie. And this is the symbol, the sign language for love, right? So you might want to put somewhere up here. Right? And that space, I left it white to kind of make it pop out a little more. You don't have to, you can actually just color it just as you're doing the rest of the page, but I left it white just to make it look like make it pop out a little bit more. So all you're doing with this, if you're not using multiple colors, like I said with the other one, if you wanted to do a rainbow all the way up, that would be really great too. I'm just going to use 2 colors like I did here. I used red and pink. I'm going to use 2 different types of purple, right? So the best way, what I found that I like to do more is just to kind of go through. Notice how I'm going in one direction, and I'm kind of using the side of my pencil to color it in. And then this one is going to be this lighter lavender, and this one I'm going to skip. So I'm going to follow the same patterning. So if I was following the same pattern, it would be the light purple, dark purple, light purple, right? I think that might actually look best. So just to keep myself to know what I'm doing, I'm just going to put the light purple here so I know how my patterning is going. If you do it the other way, if you just put the dark purple there, that would be fine too. right? And then I'm going to do dark purple in here. And I just wanted to see where one would I wanted to see what it would look like without the dark black lines. So that's why I decided to do it in pencil this time. And then we'll see when we're done if we like it that way. If we don't like it that way, we can always go in with another marker color or black marker or a pen, even a ballpoint pen, and re-put in that line if you think it needs it. Okay, so I'm going to skip every other space. So I have dark purple here, skip, dark purple, skip, dark purple, skip, dark purple, skip, dark purple, skip. This helps me. Skip, dark purple, skip, dark purple, skip, dark purple, skip, dark purple. Okay, so I know which each and every one I need to do. So I won't color the whole thing. I'll show you at the end what it looks like. But I want to show you one thing when you're going over the hand itself. So notice when I'm coloring the straight lines, in between the straight lines, I'm just going straight, but I'm going to follow the direction of the lines when I color in this area. I think it helps with giving that sense of the 3D. All right, and on and on and on all the way down the page. Now it's kind of cool to let the white be one of the colors. So you could just do one color of a pencil and let a white be the second color. I like that look as well, but I'll just put in this one on a few spaces just to show you what it's gonna look like. And then we'll meet back when we're all done and we'll take a look at what it looks like without those big dark lines in it. And we'll decide, I might want to add those lines back in to make them more noticeable. I'm not sure yet. One of the reasons why I like using the colored pencils or crayons instead of marker, but you can do it with marker too, honestly, is that one of the things that'll help you achieve that kind of 3D effect is to be able, in this crease where the hand is meeting the page, to make that area a little darker will help with that 3D effect, I think. I'll do one more down here. So we're back and I finished it up, and as soon as I finished it I thought, you know what, it really needs a darker line. Those lines that we made across really need to be a little darker. You can see I did not darken them up here, and you can see it's just so pale it doesn't give it any shape. And I didn't darken them here, and it just kind of flattens out. You really need to see the curve of that line to create this optical illusion. So I left a few here just so we could do them together. So you can see how I used my darkest color, so I used this dark purple, and I just retraced the lines. And you can see it makes a huge difference. So absolutely, if you're using a colored pencils or crayons, take your darkest color and re-go over these lines. Or better yet, when you draw them in the beginning, you can draw them with this, but you may have gone past that. So you may just need to go back like I'm doing here and redraw them all in. And then you're done. Oh, I'll do the couple up here that I didn't do. Truly makes a big difference. Very cool. So have fun with your op art assignment, and if you're feeling particularly ambitious or creative, you can do multiple samples with different colors. You can do them all just line work, or you can do some colored, some line work, and hang them up in a formation, hang them up in a composition to see what they look like together. I have a feeling they'll be really great. All right, guys, that's it for this lesson. See you next week.